Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day. Okay, so this has to be addressed simply because I am, to be honest with you, and I mean this in the most sincere way, I'm a little tired of the I don't want to use the word manipulation, but I'm tired of the, I will use the word stupidity running through the cryptocurrency space. It's a little frustrating at this point. I understand if people are relatively new to the space. If you haven't been here for more than a year, I totally understand. But something happened last night, I think while I was sleeping, and it caused a huge ruckus in the markets. As you may notice over here, prices completely dipped because of something that happened last night. I'll read through it, I'll go through all of it, and then I'll explain to you why none of this completely makes any sense, and we should, as a complete community, as all of us together, should have been well beyond this point at this stage in our lives. The New York Attorney General's office has alleged that crypto exchange Bitfinex lost $850 million and subsequently used funds from affiliated stablecoin operator Tether to secretly cover the shortfall. According to a press release issued yesterday, NYAG Latita James announced that she had obtained a court order against iFinex Inc., which operates both Bitfinex and Tether, ordering them to cease violating New York law and defrauding New York residents. James said that an investigation by her department determined that iFinex engaged in a cover-up to hide the apparent loss of $850 million of commingled client and corporate funds. She said, New York State has led the way in regulating virtual currency businesses to operate according to the law, and we will continue to stand up for investors and seek justice on their behalf when misled or cheated by any of these companies, end quote. According to the statement, Bitfinex sent $850 million of customer and corporate funds to Crypto Capital Corp., a payment processor that is said to hold the funds from any exchange as well, such as Quadriga CX. Funds from Tether's reserves were used to make up the shortfall, but neither the loss nor Tether's funds movements were disclosed to customers. So far, $700 million is alleged to have been transferred. According to a filing attributed to Assistant Attorney General Brian Whitehurst, the probe began sometime in 2018 and appeared to have been driven because, despite claims to the contrary, OAG has reason to believe that Bitfinex still allows New York-based individual investors to adopt or to deposit, trade, and withdraw virtual currencies and engage in other transactions on the Bitfinex trading platform. So for those who do not really get exactly what's going on, there's been a lot of controversy between Bitfinex, Tether, and regulators for quite a long amount of time, and this is where it kind of gets into the point where it doesn't really make a lot of sense why all of this is still going on. There was a situation sometime in 2017 where, actually, so first of all, we have this. And then we have some of that showing that the markets went down, blah, 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 what have you. Bitfinex also, of course, rebutted and said, no, we didn't do any of this. How dare you? They said that everything that happened was in bad faith and that the New York State AG, whatever you want to call them, that they are doing this, as it says right here, abuse of power comes as no surprise, whatever the case might actually be. So for those of you, like I said, if you haven't been here for a very long time, I totally understand. I get why you may have been afraid, why you or your friends may have sold off, but I'll give you a little something that kind of will put all of this into perspective. In 2017, at the beginning of the year, Bitcoin's price was around, I want to say it was $890, $900. It was floating somewhere around there. Markets weren't really moving that much. There was a stable coin, Tether, that kind of became this new thing on the block. It had been around for a little bit. Not many people had been using it. And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin's price started going up. And every single time that we found out, we had charts from this that showed that Bitcoin's price was going up. Bitcoin's price would go up in accordance with the amount of Tether that was actually being issued. And this happened so often that people started to come to the realization, hey, something might not be right as all of this is kind of happening. So now this is where it gets really interesting. This is why I keep saying this is 2019. We're almost May 2019. This has been going on for quite a long amount of time, and I'm going to run you through some articles to give you an exact example of exactly how long we've been going through this and how this shouldn't even be a topic anymore. And the fact that the markets dipped at all from the news, I personally, like me, myself, in my heart, I don't believe that this woman or anyone from there did this to drop the cryptocurrency markets. I think this may have simply been the end of their investigation. They found what they found. They're letting all of us know that they realized, or they are alleging, that there could potentially be something fraudulent going on between Bitfinex and Tether. That's fine. That's their investigation. We assume that this point is come to an end, or rather this is what they are giving us after all of this. I don't assume that they're doing this to manipulate the market. It's just kind of how I feel. The problem is that the market went down at all based off of something that we already knew. So I'm going to, for those of you who are not looking at the screen, I'm going to read out some of these things to you just so you understand exactly what was going on. It says Bitcoin is slipping after a study found signs in 2017 bull run was driven by manipulation. This kind of had to once again do with Tether. Warning signs, question mark, a timeline of Tether and Bitfinex events. This is from the beginning of 2018. Bitfinex and Tether is unauditable. Why they will never do a real audit. This is also the beginning of 2018. So analysts found that every single time in 2017, every single time that there was a major jump in Bitcoin's price, it was because the people from Tether had released or created, because it's digital, no one knows exactly how they did it. They would issue another $100 million worth of Tether, and subsequently people were following the track of the Tether, and they were seeing exactly which exchanges were allowing Tether and where this Tether was going. Every single time it was issued, it would go to exchanges, and this Tether would subsequently actually buy up an enormous amount of Bitcoin. And people started saying, oh, that's really weird. Maybe it's just, how the things are going. Maybe they're testing it out. The graphs that we had showed about 5, 6, 7, 8 times during the course of 2017 that every single time that Bitcoin had a major spike, and not like a little sideways up. Whenever there was a large jump, it was because of an issuance of Tether. And it got to the point, I think one time we had, the most was across the year, I think was 200 to 300 million dollars worth of Tether that was issued, and that caused these huge spikes that we had. I think even one of them was attributed to the run up in price of Bitcoin going over $10,000. So the idea was, or the theory was, is that the people from Bitfinex were printing Tether, and that Tether was then being used to buy up as much Bitcoin as there was in the market. And as they're buying up all these sell orders, the price is obviously going to go up, because they're attacking all the 0.1 for sale, point so and so for sale, 0.19 for sale. So they eat up all the small ones, so there are only large orders left, which have enormously large prices for Bitcoin. By the end of this, everyone was kind of like, okay, we see the charts, but we're pretty sure that Tether is real. So this led to, I don't want to use the word investigation, but it was pretty much an investigation in the cryptocurrency community, where there were many people coming forward and they said something's not right. Keeping in mind, we are almost near May 2019, and we've known about this stuff since 2017. People started hiring companies, or trying to get companies, or trying to get Bitfinex and Tether to kind of agree to an audit. That is to say, for someone to go into their office, look through their computers, and see that they actually had the amount of money that they claimed in order to back up all the Tether. Because for those who do not know, Tether, the cryptocurrency, or the crypto coin, or the stable coin, however you want to call it, is supposed to be backed 1-to-1 by the US dollar. That is to say, for every $1 physical dollar that the Tether team has, they can issue 1 Tether token. The issue is that by the end of 2017, I think they had issued around 2.8 billion Tether out of nowhere, and people were like, well, where'd you get $2.8 billion from? And the Tether team said, no, everything we have is real. It's totally fine. So they said, you know what, we're going to hire someone, and they're going to do an audit. Tether did do an audit, but the audit that they got was actually internal. So they had someone working on their team do an actual audit on their systems, and the person was like, everything's fine. Yeah, I looked through everything. We totally have all this money. This is 2018, beginning 2018. As you move a little bit further, somebody was like, hey, that audit was done by you. You looked in your own computers and said that everything was fine. So they said, fine, we'll get another company. They got another company, and this went on for about a good 2 or 3 months. I can't remember the name of the company exactly. I'm pretty sure you can find the article on Google. That company was like, yeah, we're doing the audit, and we will give you our results. It took about a month, 2 months. They came forward and they said they won't allow us access to their computers. We keep trying. And Tether released a statement. They say, yeah, they're trying to be so intrusive. Like, they want to look through everything that we have. And the auditor was like, yeah, this is what we're here for. We're trying to make sure that you actually have $2.8 billion somewhere to be able to show that this is all real. I think Bloomberg had an article, as did, I don't think Forbes. I think it was Bloomberg who had an article that pretty much stated as well, as all of this was going on, keeping in mind that Tether was real. They had proof. They had seen the audit, so and so and so, and they were like, okay, this is all real. Everyone was fine. As 2018 rolled on and more questions started to arise and everyone's like, okay, what exactly is going on? Tether were actually being taken off of the internet, offline. Like, we got to a point where there were 2.8 billion Tether. For those of you if you've been here for over a year, you should remember this. There were 2.8 billion Tether. At one point there was 2.6 and then 2.2, and then we got back to 1.8 billion Tether, and people were like, so did you guys lose $1 billion? Where's all of this going? Keeping in mind, we've known and seen all of this happening over the course of 2017 and 2018, keeping all of that in mind. One of the other really interesting things that I noted also in 2018, I don't think this is actual the thing for here, I told everyone, I said, remember, after we had Tether, we had TrueUSD, and then we had the Gemini dollar, and then we had, I think, like 3 other stable coins that ended up coming out. And now, I think by the end of 2018, I think we had around 37 of them. But by the time we had around 20 stable coins, I said, it's very interesting that there's so many coins, stable coins coming out. And my first thought was immediately, I was like, this has to be because of the entire Tether thing. And then the Winklevoss twins said in a statement, they were like, yeah, we did our own audit on their systems. You know, like, we looked through not through their files explicitly, but we saw that things don't look right. And this is why there were so many other stable coins popping up, because they realized that there was a problem with Tether. And if there's a problem with Tether, that means there's a problem with Bitcoin. Because if I have the freedom to print $2.8 billion and buy up $2.8 billion worth of Bitcoin, what do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? We've seen what happens when people put in sell orders or buy orders for $100 million. The price of Bitcoin completely skyrockets. It jumps by 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14% in one day. What do you think would happen over the course of an entire year with $2.8 billion? So I think the lowest that we ever got in Tether was around to 1.7 billion Tether actually being around, floating around out there. Once again, questions mount as Bitfinex stay silent in the wake of the Tether hack, which also happened. It was also a huge debacle because people were trying to figure out if they actually hacked themselves. Not even joking. This is the 22nd of November, 2017. Keeping all of this in your mind, we've had about a good year and a half, almost. We will be soon approaching 2 years that we've known that something has been wrong with Tether. This isn't the first time. This isn't the first time that things have kind of opened up and we've been like, wow, something's horribly wrong with Tether. Maybe we should like kind of back off. Nope. Everyone has been desperate to continue using Tether. And I mentioned before, I was like, stop using Tether. There's no real actual reason to use Tether. First of all, if you feel the need while you are cryptocurrency trading to swap your coins out into something else, I don't care for them myself. But use the Gemini coin, like use something that we know is actually real, who has on their website that you can, they do like audits every single month on these other coins. Like there's no actual explicit reason why anyone in their right mind should actually be using Tether. Bitcoin warning, how Bitfinex Tether risk crashing a global crypto market, because at this point we had realized, it says as the Bitcoin bulls continue to run the price past $12,000, we weren't even at $20,000 yet. People were slowly starting to realize and look at the charts, and people, you know, obviously, if you have Bitcoin at $990 at the beginning of the year, by the time it hits $10,000, people are going to be like, wow, this is phenomenal. What's causing it? People, this is, and I remember saying this to the end of 2017. I said, I think there's a problem. And I said, I have a really strong feeling Bitcoin shouldn't have gone up that high. I felt like we should have been around at least a good 5, 6, 7,000 per Bitcoin. It seemed to be worth it. Fundamentals, blah, 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 what have you. Everyone said I was, hate the word, everyone said I was throwing around FUD. I had no idea what I was talking about. Tether was totally real. I just had a grudge against Bitcoin. I didn't know what is so and so and so. I need to stop my YouTube channel. I need to look further. And I'm like, no, there's a really weird reason why every single time there was even in 2018, as the prices were going down and we saw so much money flowing into the cryptocurrency space because people realized the possibility that Bitcoin could potentially go higher in the future. I said there was no real hype like that in 2017, except for like the last 3 or 4 months where the markets were kind of going crazy, that would have warranted any company in this world to give $2.8 billion to Tether to allow them to lock that money up in an account somewhere and then use this money freely as they so chose. And then we also saw this in 2018 as well, when more people started coming forward and they were like, hey, this doesn't seem too real. For another article, the mystery of the Bitfinex Tether Bank and why this is suspicious. October 2nd, 2 4,017 people going through their stuff, seeing exactly what's going on, realizing that something is wrong. Because why is there so much Tether kind of popping up? Especially this is before we even had cryptocurrency exchanges actually even announcing that they wanted to be their own banks. And this is why I said in 2018, with all the other stable coins that are coming forward, I have a very strange feeling that the other coins that are being issued as stable coins are going to be adopted by central banks. And we started having news about that at the end of 2018. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. Who started to give their support to stablecoins, and I'm pretty sure that the original intention of Tether was to actually be used as a stablecoin for a bank, but that's just kind of in my own head. It kind of ties into it directly because we've seen other stablecoins being issued by other companies who are also now gaining the support of other central banks around the world. So it kind of completely ties in together. Another one from Bloomberg, Tether used to manipulate the price of Bitcoin during 2017 peak. This was a new study. This came out the middle of 2018. I think when we were, so 2018 was a very weird period because we were getting a lot of like analysts and analytics and stuff like that who were looking at the past charts. And every single time during 2018 that a government came forward and said that they were going to ban Bitcoin, going to stop Bitcoin, they were going to so and so Bitcoin, the prices would go down. But every single time that we had information about Tether, prices would completely slam down because it's a really weird situation. It's like, imagine someone telling you that something that someone you know is whatever they're doing is wrong, and they keep telling you over and over. They tell you for 2 years, and they're like, something he's doing is wrong. Like, don't you realize that it's wrong? You're like, no, it's fine. We're making money. It's totally fine. And then when a third party comes along and they're like, yeah, something he's doing is wrong, and then you start panicking and start selling all of your stuff, and then you really realize that your friend who told you before was correct the entire time. Like, I don't understand why, and I mean this in the most honest way. This is my opinion. This is not me telling you to stop the way that you live your life. No one should be using Tether at this point. If you care about your money, and I mean that in the most sincere way, there's far too much negativity around Tether for you to even think about wanting to use that coin. The fact that Tether, I think it's like the top 12, 13 in coin prices. Like, there should be no usage. And especially over the last couple of weeks, we've seen like the 24-hour usage of Tether. The 24-hour volume has actually surpassed Bitcoin. That's a problem, especially when we know that it's probably not completely real. The other thing that's been, I mean, you know, like red flag right in your like the whole room is covered in a gigantic red flag. We had news a couple of weeks ago that the people from Tether, they came forward. So after the second audit, apparently a third company came forward, tried to audit it, also didn't work. This was sometime last summer. What ended up happening is that this year, the people from Tether apparently did an audit. I don't remember if it was them, if it was another company, came forward and pretty much said that all of the Tether that they have is actually supported. I think at this point they had around, I think $1.9 billion worth of Tether. So the other 7-8 billion Tether had seemingly disappeared. They came forward and said, yeah, they actually do have all the money, but it's not actually all just money, that is actually in assets as well. So, you know, while they may have a huge section of money, they may also have some gold. They may also have some property. They may also have some other stuff that will equate to the value of the amount of Tether that they have out there. And I told people in the video, look deep inside of your soul to see if you ever want to use a Tether again, whatever the actual case might be. We've known about this, and this is part of the problem that I have with the cryptocurrency markets. Everyone is so fickle. People don't, I think this is about the 38th time I'm saying this over the course of a 36-hour period. Please, as always, do your own research. People sometimes say that I say things on this channel to kind of, that I will benefit in some sort of way from lying and or manipulating news. I have no reason to, like, if I want, like, the nicest way of me saying this is, and I've, for those of you who've been here for a while, you should know me by now, I hope. I have this channel, and I have continued doing this channel during the course of a 15-month bear market, is because I want people to understand exactly where the cryptocurrency space is going. I try to provide as much information as possible for everyone out there so that you all have an idea of what's happening, the good and the bad, everything that's happening, so you kind of make your own decision on where the cryptocurrency space is going. And just as far as adoption, negativity, whatever the actual case might be, there's no, like, I can assure you, there's no reason for me to want to lie about anything. And especially, it's always a bittersweet moment when I realize something in 2017 that many other people are also realizing, or through the course of 2018, and I tell people on the channel, people call me names, I've been called it all, and then we end up realizing that in some way I was correct the entire time, and that this entire Tether thing was completely fraudulent, and these people were probably just printing money out of thin air, which they probably were at this point. You've seen all the other articles. I'm not the only person who has done information and or research on exactly what's been happening with Tether. And then you have, I assume, a 1.5-year investigation that was going on by the New York Attorney General, and they realized this as well, and then the markets end up going down. It's not FUD because it's not uncertainty, because we know that something is wrong with Tether. It's more like, if it doesn't look right, stop touching it. If there's a possibility that you could lose money from it, stop buying it. If you know, this is why I only talk about certain cryptocurrencies on the channel, because they're probably more poised to give you returns in the future than many other coins. The amount of comments that I see where people pushing these coins that have no use case, that are never going to be used, that are never going to be bought or purchased or even added to Coinbase. Nothing. People keep pushing them and people keep buying them. And I see people in the comment section talking about that they just bought, 200,000 of them because it's definitely going to go up to $5 and so and so and so. It's definitely going to. Please do your own research. If nothing else, I will provide you with stuff to read and or look up so that you can make your own, you can formulate your own opinion. Do not be afraid. If possible, tell other people about this video. Just something. You don't even have to show them the video. Just let them know that all of this is hogwash. Like, we've known that Tether has been bad for a long time. If your friend, family member, or you have been using a stable coin over the last 1.5 years and you like stable coins and you've been using Tether, we now have other options. There are at least about 50 other stable coins out there. Most cryptocurrency exchanges list at least 3 other stable coins. If people continue using Tether after this, my actual goodness, there's no hope for the world. I don't know how clearer this can be that something is wrong with Tether. You realize TrueUSD, Gemini coin, all the other stable coins that we have aren't being investigated because they've all been very transparent. We know exactly how much money they have in their vaults, and they're usually being audited once a month. I'm going to leave it at that. At the moment, prices aren't doing too bad. It looks like the market is trying to recover. At least over the last couple of hours, it's been kind of going back up. You can kind of maybe even see the difference over here. This one says 51.84. This one says 53.39. It appears maybe people are getting a grasp back on reality. It's just very annoying. Where is Tether? 14. It has more volume than Bitcoin right now. I was pointing at my screen as if you were standing behind me looking at my screen. That's not how this works. No one should be touching Tether. That's my own opinion. That's not me trying to be mean. Something is wrong, and until it is resolved, there are other stable coins that we have out there that you don't have to worry about actually trading with back and forth. What's the current circulating supply? Once again, 2.8 billion Tether are once again out there when we just had 1.8 billion a couple of months ago. I want to say I hope you all enjoyed. I mean, I sincerely hope that you did. There's not much to enjoy. It's more like this is just reality of the cryptocurrency space. When you talk about cleaning up the cryptocurrency space and you talk about why regulations are going to happen, it's because of crap like this. It's so blatantly clear why we're going, like we're going to be forced to have regulation, and it's because of stuff like this. This is why it takes forever to get anything done, and this is why I still believe that the things that are going to make it are going to be the most regulated. That doesn't mean I want regulations. It doesn't mean I'm a regulator. It doesn't mean so and so and so. Wherever people try to twist my words, it's more like a lot of the coins that are never ever going to be used, that are being delisted, that are frauds, that no one is using, that have very low 24-hour volume, that are constantly being pumped up in price. These coins are never going to be used. You should probably not be holding them. I'm not going to name any names because life. But you should know at this point exactly which coins are probably going to make it. Like, for instance, just the most obvious one. Bitcoin is probably going to fare a lot better than whatever the coin 537 currently is on these coin rankings right now. I hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Let other people, like I said, let other people know. A lot of times fear can spread very rapidly because you gather information, but you don't spread it to anyone else. Like, you don't let them know that things are going to be fine. Regardless if Tether is fake or not, we have other stablecoins. We have a lot of real money getting into the cryptocurrency space right now. We have audited other stablecoins that are out there that you could also use, and you should probably